It's time for Stepping Out with Dee Lachey and street reporter Everett Anderson. Stepping Out, the show that encourages you to step out of the box of ordinary and into the extraordinary. Stepping out of the box into a life of liberty and rejuvenation. And now, here's your host of Stepping Out, Dee Lachey.
Welcome to Stepping Out. I am your host, Dee Lachey. On today, we're on location at the Cookery Restaurant. We're here with a gentleman who has a phenomenal story. He talks about being in a foreign country, homeless, with only the clothes on his back and a Bible. He tells his story of going from homeless to humanitarian and how he has completely turned his life around. Please help us welcome Mr. Brett Swain. Hello, how you doing?
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, tell us, how did you end up in Nashville and where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Australia, Perth, Western Australia. And how I got to Nashville, I guess, should start. I came to America in '91 and I played music, which became kind of my identity. It was a place where I felt my future, earnings would be, and the way that I would help people, the way that I would help my family, all that kind of stuff. It just became a portion of who I thought I was.
Right.
And it let me down,
Right.
big time.
Okay.
Because it wasn't the source of comfort I thought it would be. It wasn't the source of income that I thought it would be. And the more that I chased that, the more that it broke me down, because the expectation wasn't in line with the reality.
Right.
After a good while, as in 2001, I was in Dallas, Texas, and I had my family, I had everything, and everything about me collapsed. The morality of me collapsed, the character of me collapsed, everything just fell through. And when I looked around, everyone was gone. There was just like dust. And I remember waking up one morning and feeling this urge to go pick up a Bible. I didn't even know we had a Bible. And when I went and read in the Bible, I saw myself in many of the bad parts. And it absolutely terrified me. I mean, not kind of this scared kind of idea of, ooh. I mean, it just came in. It came in upon me, that kind of terror. And as I read that stuff, it was amazing to me that a man from 2,000 years ago was reading my mail.
Right.
That wrecked me. And then not only did I have the great fear of what was happening in my life and how accurate it was, but there were always also these promises of redemption and hope, of restoration. And so instead of backing away, I pressed in more. But the more I pressed in, the more I lost around me. It was like I was getting deconstructed.
So what all did you lose?
I lost my family, I lost my clothing, I lost any sense of friends that were around me. I wasn't able to communicate with anyone that I'd known before. Everything about the life I knew demolished and just went into dust. But I remember I went to see a pastor in Dallas, Texas for prayer. I'd never grew up in church. And so this whole Bible thing was all new to me. And I went to see this pastor, and I told him about who I'd been, and he just started yelling at me.
He started yelling
Yeah,
at you?
Wow. I was like, this is not what I came for.
Right.
But he just went at the person that I was, and I was like, I already agreed, but I was receiving it in a way like, I deserve this. I'm going to receive everything that I'm supposed to receive because I need to get beyond it. I need to find where the healing is.
Right.
I need to be the person that I became was not my goal.
Right.
And so I was just kept pressing in. But what was amazing about that moment was he prayed for me. And what he prayed for immediately happened. And I went, there's something to this.
So what did he pray?
He prayed that my then wife would receive me back in communication. That there would be a healing process started. And I remember leaving the church and calling, and what had been very caustic was suddenly very gentle and understanding, and I was amazed by that. It didn't last long, but it happened.
Right.
It happened immediately.
Right.
And I was just amazed that there was something here that gave me hope, and it gave me strength to press in further. Right. But as I said, more things demolished. And I remember spending 7 months on my face. I would just read the Bible. It wasn't a safe place for me because I would see all these things.
So were you homeless
No,
reading
no.
the Bible?
No. At this point, I was still connected to the family, but I was like, because of the moral collapse and the character collapse, I became, and rightly so, I was a person that was shunned, a person that was looked down upon. It was a terrible situation that erupted in my life, and I was bearing fruit of that.
Right.
So I received it. But
Right.
at the same time, it drove me more into the Bible, drove me more into prayer, and more into seeking what was wrong on the inside of me that I could become this person.
Right.
And so, for 7 months, I would read the Bible and I would be wrecked by it. Every morning for about 4 or 5 hours, I would weep and weep and weep until I thought I couldn't cry anymore. And Jesus showed up after 7 months on a Friday morning around 9 a.m.
And this was in Texas.
This is in Dallas, Texas.
So tell us, how did you get to Nashville?
Okay. Well, in that time when he showed up, one of the things that was given to me was to come to Nashville, which I thought was funny because I don't have an accent. All you guys do.
Okay.
So I thought it was weird for me to be coming to a country music place. And I arrived, and I deliberately did no research. I wanted people to know that God was doing this in my life. I didn't research the temperature. I didn't research who I was going to meet. I didn't have any money. When I found out he was real, I was on fire. I wanted to run throughout the whole neighborhood and just tell everybody.
Right.
And yet at the same time, it was like, there was this, there's something special going on, and it's sacred.
Right.
So I kept the sacredness of it, to come to Nashville. And in the book it tells you how to travel. So that's how I traveled. I traveled with the clothes on my back and my papers, and I had no money, and my Bible.
So when you got to Nashville, where did you go?
Coming in, I'm praying the whole time. God, talk to me. Who am I supposed to meet? What's supposed to happen? And I wasn't getting anything. And the prayer got more fervent, more heartfelt. And then I remember pulling in on the Greyhound, and I saw the downtown Nashville. They had the Lifeway building with a cross. And I was immediately comforted because I thought, what city, any city that I didn't know of, especially in America, that has a cross in the middle of the center of town. It just immediately brought me a certain sense of peace. And I got off the Greyhound. I was like, okay, I know I'm going to be okay. I don't know what's going on, but there's my first sign. And I remember spending the night in the Greyhound. And in the morning, a homeless guy approached me. And he showed me where the mission was. And I had no money, but I found out the mission was in walking distance. Now, me being Australian is, and coming to a whole different city, there's a whole different circumstances and feelings that I was going through maybe that some other people, the experience of it would be different. No one knew where I was. I couldn't call anybody. I had no one to fall back on, and I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
So to find out the mission, whatever the mission was around the corner, I just couldn't believe what was going on, and thank you, God, for guiding me until I walked in the door.
Right.
And I saw the brokenness, I saw the despair, I saw the dirt. And I said, my God, what are you doing? I'm going to die here. What are you doing? And then the homeless man said to me, Brett, let me show you where else the homeless hang out. We go down to the downtown library. And then I had my epiphany that I was homeless. And it just broke down another level immediately. And I went into...
When you say it broke you down, were you crying? Were you
No,
depressed? What were you feeling?
There's a sense of survival. There's a sense of panic. There's a sense of loss. There's a sense of unsurety. Again, not knowing any of the social services or anything. I didn't know anything. So my grip on his promise became even stronger. It was all I had. It was all I had. And it's amazing. Corrie ten Boom talks about it's in darkness that God's light shines brightest. And it's very, very true. I found amongst the poor that their desperation and their brokenness keeps them on their knees, and God responds to hunger in person. So the colors amongst the poor are very bright.
Right.
And the spiritual versus the world system economically, I guess, again, the word is true that blessed are the poor because their need and their brokenness.
So you found yourself down at the library and living at the mission. How long were you at the mission?
Well, I hadn't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay.
When I was at the library, I went upstairs and I was reading in the religious section for comfort, praying the whole time. I was getting no word. Then the voice comes over from the lady at the intercom, and she says, "The library's closing in 15 minutes." And I was finished praying. I was almost annoyed. And I closed the book and I put it up and I just said out loud, "I'm hungry." It wasn't a prayer. I just said, "I'm hungry." And I walked out downstairs. And back then, there were columns outside. And as I exited out of the building, on one of the columns was a brand new apple. And I just couldn't believe how fortunate that was. Mm-hmm. So I walked over, and as soon as I put my hand on the apple, he spoke. And he said, "Why do you worry about the little things?" And as he said that audibly, scripture came behind it that said, "I know your needs before you ask." So I must have looked like a really crazy homeless person at that point, because I'm walking down the street towards the mission, eating an apple, bawling my eyes out. Damn,
right.
I was looking really displaced. But it gave me the strength. That moment gave me the strength. God was seeing me, and I knew He was seeing me.
Right.
And I was homeless for 4 months. And I really believe the
homeless as in at the mission?
At the mission. At the mission for 4 months. But that gave me the strength for that. Because every day, when I was in my section of it, not everybody's experience is the same. I only experienced a little bit. Some people's experience of being in the mission was far worse than mine.
Right.
And the circumstances entering into the mission were far worse than mine. I knew God is. And so that gave me strength. But even so, every day felt like 3. If I can just get up in the morning and make it to lunch. If I can just make it through lunch into the afternoon. Okay, now if I can just make it from late afternoon to evening. Every time became elongated. I think that happens for everybody that's in pain. So the 4 months felt like a year. But I remember going through the experience, what happened was it exposed me to that my viewpoint of people suffering, especially in the poverty circumstance, was pity. I looked downward. "You poor person, I'm so sorry." But it wasn't a very empowering viewpoint, and I didn't realize I had that. And over the 4 months, my view came eye to eye in compassion. So I learned that became my family.
So you think the experience of being homeless made you more compassionate towards
absolutely.
people that are in that circumstance?
Absolutely.
All right. Hold that thought. We'll be back with more of our conversation with Mr. Swain after these messages.
Hey, yeah, this is Everett Anderson on location. As a matter of fact, on my favorite location, the kitchen. You might not look like it, but I love to eat. I promise I do. I got here, what's your name?
Wiley Walker.
Wiley Walker. All right, well, first things first, I got to ask you, how did Britt Swain actually change your life with the cookery?
Well, in a lot of ways, actually. One, obviously, he taught me how to cook.
Uh-huh.
And, but mainly we focus a lot on the spiritual aspect of life and, helping to me and the brokenness, from all of the past damage, that I've done to myself. And, it's given me a family unit to be a part of and, getting me closer to Christ and giving me hope that I can, just get back a normal sense of life again and live productively.
Okay, well, as you can see, we're here in the kitchen now in his natural habitat. What we got here? What is this?
This is a rockin' Moroccan salad.
Man, it look like it's rocking. What's all in it?
All right, you got the lettuce, spring mix, bed of lettuce, and we have oranges in it, fresh cut oranges.
Okay.
Carrots, scallions, celery.
What kind of meat is that on top of it? Because I'm gonna go ahead and dig in for a second. All right.
All right. Yourself, bro.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see.
Yes, this is it's Moroccan rub chicken.
Mhm.
So we'll take the chicken and rub it in Moroccan spice and.
What kind of spice is that?
Moroccan.
Man, this thing rock.
All right, now.
That thing rocking.
All right.
I promise.
And then we top it with orange marmalade mix and an olive mix as well.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess besides the cookery, got the 5-month program here. After you finish the 5-month program, what you got planned next?
Well, actually, I finished the program. I graduated.
Oh, okay.
A few, and I just kind of felt led to stay around, for at least for the foreseeable future, just
I see
ministering.
why.
Yeah,
I see why you do a
I'm
good
learning
job.
a lot being here. So,
Oh, yeah.
you know, just a lot of other guys are coming in too. So, you know, it's kind of a joy to help them.
Help others.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. That's always a pleasure to help others. Always a pleasure. All right, Mr. Walker, thank you, fam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Back to you at the studio.
Welcome back to Stepping Out. We're continuing our conversation with Mr. Brett Swain. So, before we went on break, you were saying that you were at the mission for 4 months. Tell us how you got to the point where you are now, where you have this fabulous restaurant.
I got to the point where I surrendered at the mission. I saw so many good things happening amongst the poor that a miracle happened in my heart where I up to that point I was trying to get out. In any way, shape, or form I could. God, get me out of here.
So it was like, okay, you're saying you're trusting God to a certain extent or to a certain point, but then on the backside,
Yeah.
you were still trying to get out of the situation
I
because
didn't know what he was,
it was uncomfortable.
Oh, very, very uncomfortable. And when that miracle in my heart happened, I remember saying, with everything in me, I'm good. I'll stay here for the rest of my life.
We will now step into the kitchen with Mr. Everett Anderson.
We at the Cookery. We got Mr. James here. How did Brent Swade actually change your life with the Cookery?
By coming and offering me to come through this culinary school and to help me get off the street and just instill God, let God be in our life here. Yes.
Okay, so he, I guess he brought you. You had, I guess, hard times before you came in.
Yes. Well, I was homeless and just we talked about it a couple times. Just told him let me go to God and pray about it, and well, I'm here. I've been here since we opened.
I heard that. How did you actually run into Mr. Bruce?
He got another ministry that he runs in called the Landcroft Ministry at WB Upper Room, and we I was going on Wednesdays and some Saturdays, and
Okay.
that's how I met him.
You met him? Life changing.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, as you can see, we're here in your natural habitat as well. What we got here?
A fish lettuce wrap.
A fish lettuce wrap.
Yes.
It looks delicious. What all goes into the fish lettuce wrap?
You got a pocket of lettuce. We put it on with cold slaw,
Okay.
mayonnaise slaw,
Okay.
and then put the fish on. Then the fish sauce. Then the onions.
Okay. Well, I'm a little hungry, so I'm gonna go ahead and
All right, then.
take me a bite here, see what y'all working with here. Check it out. Hold on a second. I gotta get another one. Okay. I had to make sure. That is delicious. What are these sauces that we have here?
Okay, the sauce here. The first one we got a sweet onion, and that's a chipotle and ranch.
And ranch.
Yes.
I never had the combination of sauces on this fish before. I'm gonna take a third try just to make sure I tasted what I
All right,
tasted
no problem.
the first 2 times.
No problem.
All right. Do you want some of this?
No thanks. You can try it. Go ahead.
Oh, that is delicious, you know. Man, if anybody out there looking for a good meal, some very extremely friendly people, the Cookery would be the spot to be. Look at he's smiling. It's very friendly around here.
Yes.
Back to you at the studio.
We would like to thank Mr. Brett Swain for allowing us to come into his establishment and for also being a beacon of light to men who stumble into this restaurant and are unsure of themselves but leave with confidence and an assurance of knowing that they are someone and able to help somebody else. Until next time, I'm Dee Lachey, and this is Stepping Out.